Hi, this is Greg Kilstrom. Welcome to the Agile World podcast, where we discuss customer experience, employee experience, and transformation in an agile age. The Agile World podcast is brought to you by TEKsystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world application. For more information, go to teksystems.com. To read more about the topics discussed on this show, you can go to my website at theagile.world and read my latest articles or get a copy of my latest book, The Center of Experience, a blueprint for creating an experience-led organization, now available on Amazon and other retailers. Hi, this is Greg Kilstrom, host of the Agile World podcast. Today we're going to talk about calculating the value of customer experience and employee experience. It's well understood that the better data you have, the better the decisions you can make. This comes into play both internally with EX and externally with customer experience. In order to do this effectively, though, organizations need to tie a lot of systems together. It's not just a few data points here and there. That's why the Center of Experience that I describe in my latest book comes into play. It's tying everything from brand to culture to platform to environment and many other things together. The benefits of this can be dramatic, however. David Linthicum, Chief Cloud Strategy Officer at Deloitte, puts it this way of having access to near-perfect information, since you finally have a view or a full view of what is happening across the landscape of both your customer and employee experience. So doing this well, we're going to touch upon a few things that I've talked about a little bit in previous episodes. First, let's talk about journey orchestration. So on the customer side, before I described how the benefit of journey orchestration is not only are we optimizing individual channels or tactics, but we're tying them together, making sure that, in this case, the customer is getting from the right place or to the right place. And all along, we're measuring how effectively we're performing, as well as driving them to the right destination. For instance, not every customer that enters the journey might end up buying the product that we think they're wanting to buy. So we might want to redirect them to a different journey altogether. Using orchestration, we can figure this out by measurement, by learning, and other tools. Same thing happens with employee experience, although because we don't necessarily want to push employees out of their journey. So the journey starts at hiring and it ends at an employee transitioning out of the company. Generally speaking, with employees, we want to keep them in the journey as long as it makes sense. So increasing their retention. With that, we want to make sure that we're orchestrating the right things to happen to really keep them in the optimal phase of being an engaged and productive employee. To help measure this, there's a few things on the customer side that we want to look at. So we'll talk about cost per acquisition, customer lifetime value, and expected value. So understanding what it takes to win a new customer is critical. This combination of marketing, advertising, automation, personalization, and data science really can help us figure all of the three above things that I talked about. So cost per acquisition, I think a lot of, in the marketing, CX, and business world are well aware of this. It's essentially taking how much you spent, whether it's on marketing, advertising, or other means, how much you spent to get the customer, after they complete the purchase. So fairly straightforward metric. Customer lifetime value really is based on cost per acquisition, but it's really the amount of money that this customer spends over time, minus the cost to continue to not only acquire them in the first place, but to continue to drive them back to whether it's your website or your store, something like that. What helps us make better decisions, particularly in orchestration, is to understand an expected value. So what we're able to do over time and looking backwards with customer data is to see, to make basically personas and projections based on customers who look like a certain profile that will ideally have a certain value. So, we take the customer lifetime values of real customers and then we project expected value onto new potential customers. This helps us do all kinds of things relating to next best action, which I've talked about a little bit and will in some later episodes. But so we take the expected value and we can then determine what kind of offer do we want to give this customer. For instance, a customer that has a low expected value, we don't necessarily want to give them a great offer or incentive compared to one that is going to have a long-term expected value. This way, we spend our money wisely. We give deep discounts to those that are going to stick around or are most likely to stick around. And for those that are likely to simply purchase once and then move on, we incentivize them in the best way possible, but we don't want to lose money on on investing in them. So by incorporating this, this expected value and customer lifetime value, you can really, start spending this money, spending your marketing dollars, your experience dollars, and really, your investments in technology and advertising, all of those things. You can spend all of that more wisely and really drive the right messages to the right people. Start really understanding the channels that are being used by your most valuable customers, the messages they respond to. And when you tie that into artificial intelligence or machine learning, you can then do even better, optimize even further. This really helps you on the customer experience side be as efficient as possible. Similarly, with employee experience, optimizing that, we're looking at things like retention, productivity, engagement. And by looking at those things, we can start seeing where we can move the needle. At Cravity, we talk about intrinsically motivating employees in order to get them to be more engaged, more productive, and to stay longer at an organization. That's a great way to start the process of really creating a great, not only employee, but a great culture. And the culture is thus measured by retention and productivity. Even better, when we combine employee experience and customer experience, we can start seeing that great employees create sales or more sales with customers. So they create happy customers that spend more often and refer others more often. So this cycle of happy employees creating great customers and valuable customers really becomes complete when all of these things are in place. I'm going to talk a little bit more about measurement of experience in some later episodes. Until then, thanks for listening. Thanks again for listening to the Agile World podcast, brought to you by Tech Systems. I'm your host, Greg Kihlstrom. You can learn more and get a copy of my latest book, The Center of Experience, from my website at theagile.world or on Amazon or other retailers. Until next week, stay agile.